our connection is connecting you, the coach, to not only to your school and the community, but to the world, because we want to do highlights. So some of your outstanding players that needs to get their plays out there, people are not coming to watch as much as they used to because of COVID, but we need to still highlight these young people, right? So here's going to be a platform where mom and dad can see, Mustafa catch that catch because they wasn't there, on the game day. But also some of those individuals who want to write checks to make sure that your team members have the equipment, the helmets and things that they need, or that, they know when the game schedule so they can come out when they want to come out. So this is what Coaching Connection does. And we start with you, the coach, because you bring us all together. All right. So what I want to do first, Coach, is I know that you have been in D.C., you've moved away from D.C., and now you're back in D.C. Can you tell the world who you are and then go into what you're doing now?
Okay. Again, my name is Marvin Parker. I'm the Dean of Students, Assistant Athletic Director, and the girls' head track and field coach. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. We moved here in 1976. My father was in the Navy, stationed at the Pentagon, and my mother used to teach at Elliott Junior High School. And my brothers attended Eastern High School, and I went to school in D.C. up to junior high school. Then we moved to Maryland. I graduated from Potomac High School in Oxon Hill, Maryland, and went on from there to Morgan State University. I graduated from Morgan State University. I ran track and field and played football at Morgan State University. After that, I was in the United States Army. I'm a retired captain in the United States Army Reserve. I was a former Metropolitan Police officer. Then I came to education in 1996, and I've been here since. And then I came to Dunbar in 2005. And since I've been at Dunbar here, my girls' track team has won 58 different championship titles.
Get out of here.
100% of my girls have gone on to college for absolutely free and graduated. The average GPA on my team right now is 3.95. And my goal is to build strong and productive young Black women in today's society, and also understanding that we're at the mecca of education for Blacks, because Dunbar is the first African-American high school in the country, public high school, and founded in 1870. And we're in a brand new building we built in 2013. It's also the world's greenest school. And it's a wonderful building that incorporates the history with the past, with the present. And what we're doing now is during the COVID, we've had, like for myself as a coach, I kept my team together throughout the pandemic. We came up with innovative ways to practice and still be safe and stay together and keep the kids' mental psyche together, because they were like cage animals, man. They had to get out, so they loved it. So they never missed a day of practice. And so that was fun to fellowship and things like that. And also, when I say fellowship, I myself and my assistant coaches, we send positive affirmations to our kids every morning, prayer of the day and thought of the day, and not get no religious, but just try to give them something positive to think about. And always preach to my kids, we're heavenly protected, and walk, instead of walking by sight, walk by faith. And, my girls and families kind of buy into it. I got great parents. We have a great neighborhood here in the Truxton neighborhood up here in Dunbar area. The ANC commission with Mr. Bradley there, pretty productive. Our alumni federation is hugely important to us.
It's incredible. Your alumni association is incredible. Now, I'm going to hold you for 1 second because, brother, you are dropping such history, such diamonds that a lot of times this is why Coaching Connection is so important. You touch the lives of not only of your students you have now, but I kind of believe you are connected to all those graduates also. Can you give us an insight how this connection is changing the whole community?
Okay, so what I found out when I came here in Dunbar in 2005, I came from Riverdale Baptist High School where I was coaching at. So I left a job where I was with a lot of well-to-do, privileged kids, to kids that had a lot of different landmines they had to navigate just to get here, just to get in the. So with that being said, what spurs me on, and I think the way I'm stay connected with my kids, because a lot of my students are first generational graduates from high school and college. And
Hey, hold on. Say that one more time, because we're in 2021 now, right?
exactly, a lot of my students are first time family graduates from high school and college.
Yes, sir.
So it's a great, it gives myself and the school great joy and satisfaction to see those parents' faces, or that parent's face, when that kid both graduate from high school and move on and graduate from college. And I had a lot of my girls who, I've sent them all over, from Howard to University of Tennessee, to Brown, to Princeton, to Harvard, to MIT, to Florida State. I mean, you name it, we've gone. I have students that have gone there. And the beauty of this also is, and I think a lot of it is lost on us in even 2021, that we do not realize that DC public schools get such a bad rep for some reason. It's unfounded and unnecessary. But these students here are brilliant.
Yes.
These kids are talented, and all they want structure.
Yes,
they look for leadership. And it's up to us not to get lost and move out to the suburbs and forget all about our city, because you'd be amazed how many people we run into when they see the team and how well the team is doing. Can you hold on one?
Yes, coach. Yes, coach. I know you have multiple jobs, coach. I understand. Now, while you're moving around, I'm going to share some information. I attended. Okay, no problem. I attended Elliott Junior High. Yes, I attended. Yeah, Elliott Junior High. And if I would have went to Eastern, I'd still be in school. I went uptown to Roosevelt because I still live in the neighborhood. So I know the excellence that the coach that we had on before you. He's a boxer, and he talked about how boxing saved his life. Were you an athlete also, coach?
Yes, I was. I was All-American in track and field at Morgan State, and also a football player at Morgan State University. I was a starting safety. And also I actually had a stint with the Cleveland Browns on a practice squad for 2 years.
Okay.
So, yeah, with that being said, I come from an athletic family, actually. So it's just that, you always want to give back, and being a scholarship athlete like I was at Morgan, I know the route and the roads you have to take to get there, but these kids have such opportunity that we did not have back then for scholarships, that with DC Tag and DC Cap and things like that, getting in-state tuition assistance and things like that. Our students, there should be no reason why any student in Washington, DC should not go to college. And we just have to take advantage of the programs that are extended to us. And we have to educate our parents, because the biggest issue is that our parents aren't educated enough to, and that's not in a bad way, but not understanding how to fill out the FAFSA, how to fill out the Pell Grant and things like that. So what we do here at Dunbar, we have tutorials for our parents to come in and learn how to fill out the proper paperwork so their kids can, one, fill out the NCAA clearinghouse to be NCAA eligible to even receive a scholarship. And, with the mayor, Mayor Bowser, and has done a great job with the mayor's scholarship. And again, our alumni federation, we have our scholarship, and our career and college office is outstanding with helping our students, athletes and other students understand and navigate through the things of like Black College app and things like that. And just educating our kids on how to apply for college and what the importance of college is.
The last time, 2019, I had the plum pleasure of being in Dunbar with your alumni association, speaking to your athletic department students. And these men were in a room getting ready to take the SAT. And they asked me to come in and say a couple of words to get them pumped up. But I got pumped up because I saw all those other alumni men standing around the room. I'm like, look, we all should stand up in this legacy of all these men. Can you tell us, brother, what are some of those inspirational thoughts that resonates in you that you give to your athletes so that they can also realize that success starts within?
Well, one is, I always tell my kids that nothing beats a failure but a try.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of our kids won't try. So we have to help them and push them toward that. You at least have to try. If you try, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be successful. So with that being said, also, I tell my kids, nothing beats hard work. So like my students if you miss practice one day, you have to come the next day. You got to do what you missed yesterday and plus what you have to do today. I mean, so you have to hold our kids to standards. And a lot of times we try to dumb things down for our students instead of pushing them up to the standards that they can achieve. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions about students in DC public schools, that we have to dumb things down. And that's just the wrong thing to do. We need to hold them up to standards because, again, I always tell my kids, you come from kings and queens, and that's just not a saying. That's the absolute truth. I mean, and one thing, again, I love about this school, about our principal who pushes Dunbar history along with DC history. It's a course you have to take, you know what I mean? And, and we're when you do that, I always tell my kids, you can't be good at something if you don't understand it. So you can't be good at being you if you don't understand you. If you don't understand where you come from, what your lineage is and where you are. And it's very important to understand where you are and what part of history you're going to play and what part of your legacy and what legacy you want to leave for your family and things like that. So our kids, by preaching those positive affirmations to them, you ought to see how their faces light up. You ought to see how this, I can give you one quick story. I have a kid that the one that went to the University of Tennessee, who may come from a tough neighborhood and things like that, but now she's a uniformed Secret Service officer. You know what I mean? And it's unbelievable to see that kid that used to fight every other day to where she is now and being a graduate, of the University of Tennessee and coming. It's just I can tell you stories like that for days.
And we want to hear it. We want to hear that. So Coaching Connection, we want to make sure that we connect our community to you coaches, and you coaches connect us so we can help our young people. What could the community do to help you reach more of the students?
I think we can have a little bit more community involvement in the schools. I don't know, because you went to Elliott, so you understand. You might have been under Dr. Barkley like I was. And I remember when Coach Adams and Coach Dickie Wells and Mr. Roundheart, Mr. Wright, and all these guys used to bring people in, and they used to be real engaged. They would knock on your door and things like that. But I think the community can help us push the city council to, one, bringing back things like wood shop, metal shop, home economics, printing, and things like that, because those are things I learned at Elliott. You know what I mean? My first job was at General Typographers, running the font machine.
Wow.
And which prints books and magazines. So
yes,
I was making $15 at 15 years old. That was unbelievable. But at the end of the day, if the community can help that, if the community get more engaged in the school and stop, not just run around the school, but actually come in the doors. Because Dunbar is one of the only schools in the country that have its own museum inside the school. I mean, so again, if you can come inside the doors and engage, volunteer, go downtown, get your clearance so you can come in and volunteer with the students. Because the students will love to be engaged with the community because you see them every day and things like that. And I think our kids will help us, one, with, I'm putting my police hat on now, one with helping us with community violence and things like that by engaging with the community around you. And not just for a dog and pony show. I mean, legitimately coming in and volunteering your skill set, especially our successful Black men and women, volunteering your skill set and helping us out, because we have a group here called God, which is the Gentlemen of Dunbar. We had a group come in yesterday called BAM from out of Chicago. I mean, remember the 100 Black men and the Young Kings and people like that. And also, my fraternity, Iota Phi Theta, Omega Psi Phi, and Alpha Phi Alpha, and getting our fraternities and sororities to give back by engaging and coming back to the schools. Because obviously, I'm in the educational capital of the world.
Yes, sir.
Right down the street from Howard, Georgetown, GW, AU, UDC. I mean, come on, if we can get our folks to come back and have the Black attorneys in DC of graduates of UDC law school.
Yes.
Come to our law and public policy classes and talk to our kids. I mean, come to our sports management classes like Vontae Davis, former of the Buffalo Bills, who came by, Vernon Davis, his little brother, and Josh Cribbs and Gilbo and Nate Butsy and Arrhenius Ben. All these guys have not only come back and talked to our kids about sports. But Vontae Davis came by and wanted to introduce his book. But he also talked to the kids about why he made his decision he made during that football game. And he explained that the NFL is a business, how you have to understand business.
Yes.
And I think one of the biggest things we also use from our community, especially our community bankers, is fiscal responsibility in education, and teaching our kids about finances, because that's lost on our students. Again, I know our principal here, Miss Nadine Smith, she pushes hard on that. Hey, sometimes you got to think outside the box. What is
yes,
DCPS? I don't know if
No, but it's all good. It's all good. So Coaching Connection really wants to thank you for all the work you do. And we want to reschedule an opportunity for you to come into our studio. Now, when you come into our studio, we want to you bring some video of some of those amazing students you just got finished talking about. Yeah, because we want the world to see the greatness of not only our coaches, but the children that they coach. And so I am so grateful for the time that you shared with us today. But can you answer this? Why do you think Coaching Connection is going to help a person like you who's already doing amazing things to help our children to the next level? Why do you think Coaching Connection is a good idea?
I think it's a good idea because of the platform that you have to be able to introduce us to more people and to bring the inner city kids to light through your platform. Because of course we all listen to radio,
yes.
and so again, we can get folks like Coaching Connection to make sure to help us expose ourselves. Because I think Coaching Connection reminds me more of Black College app. You guys can touch everybody. So with that being said, I applaud you, and Coaching Connection for even sharing this platform with us, because knowledge is power.
Yes.
So the more we know, the more we can grow.
I thank you so much. Now, Streets Media, we're located here in D.C. I'm through Ms. Washington, and thank you, Ms. Washington. We will ask that you come into the studio so we can tweak this, so you can see this before we put it out. Every Wednesday, we do a show on WOL also, which will be highlighting this opportunity for our community to connect to Coach Connections, to make sure our children are connected to levels of success coming through you, our coach.
Absolutely. I think I can definitely do that with no problem.
Thank you so much, Coach.
And I want to uplift one thing to you. I would like for your readers, your listeners, to see if they can go out and get this book, this First Class, The Legacy of America's First African-American High School, written by Allison Stewart, who's the first African-American journalist on MTV. And her father went here at Dunbar. So she wrote this book in 2013 on New York Times bestseller list. And she's a friend of, Miss Jarrett. Her father went to Dunbar. Of course, like I said, we can run down the history with from Vincent Gray to Eleanor Holmes Norton to Kelly Miller to Benjamin Cardoza to Mr. Reeves building, Nellie Hannah Barrows, Walter Fontroy. I actually coached his great niece.
No way.
She's a graduate of Alabama State.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a good kid. One of my better athletes.
That's why Coaching Connections is important, because you coaches are changing the lives, and we want to highlight that and let the world know that we have to continue to do this. We can't let up.
Well, I appreciate you again, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Coach.